We're going to talk about VI text editor today. VI was the first full screen command mode text editor designed for Unix. And now it comes pre-installed in almost every Linux distribution. When you do not have access to GUI text editor, VI is very handy and powerful tool for system admin. You can perform search and replace, copy and paste words or lines and write a script or programming language using the VI. Linux also comes with another text editors like Nano, Emacs, but they might be suitable for new users. But VI is the tool uh, of choice for a more experienced user due to advanced feature that it provides. So there are a few reasons that you should be using VI. The first would be VI is always there, no matter which distribution you're using. And VI does not consume a considerable amount of system resources and very powerful. And also, when you're working as a system admin, it's very likely that you would be remoting into the server using SSH, and you don't have option to use GUI-based text editor. So VI is your friend. In addition, VI has a very extensive built-in manual, which you can launch using the help command, which we'll see shortly. There are so many clone versions of VI, but the Veeam is probably one of the most popular and powerful clone that comes pre-installed on most of the Linux distribution. I'm using Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8, and it's there. VI is there. I didn't install it. Veeam stands for VI Improved, and it supports all the basic commands plus much more. In this video, we're going to talk about VI and Veeam together. When I say VI, then it'll be related to the Veeam commands and vice versa. There's actually a help command in Veeam which will tell you the difference between VI and Veeam. So you can go to the command mode using escape, which we will talk in detail later, and escape : help space VI -diff. So it says differences between VI and VM. You can go through all the help menu and escape again, :Q to quit from that. And you can launch the help menu from here, help, escape, go to the command mode, and help. Yeah, we have all the help manual. So this also makes the VI or Veeam very powerful editor because it has so many commands and you can use the help menu to find that commands. You can also do help for a specific command. Let's say you know the command X, you need help space X. And you can also find help for, let's say, you can substitute, and it will display the help menu for that particular command. So very powerful tool. Let's quit from here. And so there are a few ways to launch VI. One, you could simply do VI and it will launch the VI. You can write it and then save it. Or if you have a file that's already existing in your directory, then you can simply VI and then file name. I have a file name called test1. So you can just open like that. So to understand the VI, let's talk about 3 different modes that VI has. The first mode we're going to talk about is the input mode. Input mode is, so when you launch VI first, it will by default come into the command mode. Let's say VI test1. So if I press any key, it doesn't write anything. The key that I press interprets as a command by the system. So it's in a command mode. And to input something, to insert something into the file, you have to press I, and that's where you see the insert at the bottom. And now we're into the input mode. So now you can type whatever you like and go to the new line, make some changes. And if you're ready to write on the file, just escape. It will go to the command mode and : You can do W to write on the file. And if you want to ignore the changes, you can do Q, but Q will not let you quit because you have made changes. So if you press Q and enter, it says no write since last change. So we haven't written on the changes. So Q will not let you quit. But what you can do is colon Q and then exclamation. That will force quit without the changes to be written. So the changes just like that. If you noticed on this editor, when you open the file, there is no line number on each line. We can quickly fix that by creating a runtime configuration file for Vim, which we'll be creating into our home directory. And every time VI runs, it reads from that runtime configuration file and display the information it has provided to the Vim. So let's create a couple ways to create. You can use cat command. The name of the file is .vimrc runtime configuration. Dot means hidden file. And then, so there is no such file, obviously. So we have to use write command. And the line we're gonna use is set number and enter, Control D. Now if we do cat vimrc, it has that number. So now if we launch vi test1 file, see the line number on yellow, it was not there before. So that's how we can tell Vim to read from that configuration file and display the line number. There are so many commands you can use. You can set auto indent, you can set the tab space. By default, the tab space is 8 spaces, 8 character. You can set for 4 and stuff like that. You can read more about that online, about .vimrc file. So now this is a simple insert mode. You just insert files, and when you're done, you just write it or quit without writing. Now let's talk about the command mode. So command mode is the mode that when VI starts, it starts in the command mode. And if you're not sure which mode you are in, you just press the escape button and then you will return to the command mode. The fact that in the command mode, the keywords, the keys that we enter from the keyboard is interpreted as a command, not the word. So you will not see that displayed anywhere on the screen, but it just acts like a command. So that might be a little confusing if you're new to VI. And in command mode or in VI, in any mode, you can move around the cursor using your keyboards, left, right, up arrow, down arrow. So the first command we are going to see is command X. So we are in the command mode, but just press the X escape button and move around. Let's say you want to delete this number 1, and the cursor is there, and just hit X. X will just delete that line. And if you want to undo the changes you just made, just press U, and the 1 is back. And let's say you want to delete the line 2, you just press DD. Actually, when you press DD, it's actually copied. You can actually press P to paste it again. See how the line was pasted on line 3. And let's say I want to delete this line DD, and then delete this line DD, and delete this line DD. So I made 3 changes. I could press U again to undo all the changes, but I can also do is in the command mode, you can use the number in front of the command to repeat that command on that many number of times. So let's say, for example, if I press 3 and press DD, it deleted or copied or cut, actually, not copy, those 3 lines. And if I do undo now, it will undo all 3 lines because it was only 1 command. But let's say I deleted. So those are 3 commands. And now if I do 3U, then all 3 commands, all 3 changes were undo by the command. So that's how you can use. And let's say you delete this one and you want to undo it, but if you want to redo it again, then Control R. So it got deleted again. If you want to delete, let's say not the whole line, but from here to the end only, you can just simply do Shift D, which is also capital D, and it will just delete the line from the cursor to the end. And if you have, let's say, for example, and if you press A, go to the, you can press I to go to the insert port. You can also press A, that will append after the current cursor. So A, the cursor will move, and you can write this is a test. Let's go to the command mode again by pressing escape. And if I want to delete something from here to that to the end, just shift D, and that will be gone. And you can write this on this file in many ways. You can escape colon, W will also write, WQ will write and quit the file. If you do exclamation, it will force write and quit. You can also do X, sorry, small x, and then you can also use exclamation to force write and quit at the same time. But you can also do in the command mode shift and ZZ twice. I'm holding down shift key, ZZ. So it wrote, and then the file and the exit from the file. And if you press O, a lowercase o, it will create a blank line after this current file. So I want to undo it now. So I go to the command mode, undo. And if you want to create a blank line above the cursor line, then shift O. So it will create that file. And we are in the now insert mode because when you press O, it will go to the next line and go into the insert mode. So let's go to the escape and command mode again. And you can use shift L to go to the end of the line, end of the file, and shift H to go on the top of the line. So H will go on the top and L will go on the end with the shift key. And if you want to just move around, you can move the arrow key. But if you want to move one word to the right, then you can use W. So by hitting W in the command line, command mode will move. And then if you just hit P, lowercase, it will come to the left one word. And if you want to go to the end of the file, end of the line, you just go and $sign. So that will take you to the end of the line. And if you do caret sign, which is on the number 6 on your keyboard, and you'll go to the first non-blank character on the line. So if you, for example, if you have a space here and you're here, if you do caret, it'll go to the first non-blank character. But if you want to go to the beginning, you can just press 0 and it'll go to the beginning of the line, no matter if it's a space or character. And let's say you want to replace this word, this character, where the cursor is, you can just simply press R. Now, if you type any word, it will replace that particular character. Yes, and if you want to replace the whole word, or if you want to replace as cursor moves, then you have to press Shift R, and at the bottom you see replace, and test2 becomes test. Let's say you want to write something instead of test, say go to 4, 3 or something. So it replaced as cursor moves with the Shift R, and just R will replace where the cursor is. If I hit R, now it's in the replace mode. So let's undo, escape command mode, undo, undo, undo. And then if I go here and just hit R, it will just replace that file and it doesn't move anywhere. And if you want to copy these 3 lines not cut, we're using DD, you can use command YY or shift Y. And if you do P, we'll just paste that line and undo U. And if you want to copy whole 6 line at the same time, 6 YY. At the bottom it says 6 lines anked. And if you go here and go to the command mode and P, it will just paste all the lines. And undo U. And if you hit the period in the command mode, then it will just repeat the last command. So it just pasted because that was our last command. And if you just want to highlight this text, this and copy, then press V. At the bottom, you see visual mode. Then move your arrow to the right. So now this is highlighted. So you can press Y to copy or X to cut it. Let's do X and go here. Go to this space and P, and that's where it pastes. So these are mostly used commands in command mode. And the last mode that we'll talk about is the EX mode. In the EX mode is this extension of the command mode. To get into the EX mode, you just press escape and then colon, and colon will display at the bottom of the screen. And you can write file, quit, X, we use it, in WQ, quit it, and it's generally more convenient to type a Shift GG rather than WQ or X, because you don't have to be in the X mode. When the Shift GG you can write from the, you can do from the command mode. So on this mode, what you can do is you can load the file by going to the escape E, and then give the name of the file um, to load into this VI. So I have another file called test2. If I do colon E test2, no write since, okay, let me go and quit and open file again. And let's go to the X mode and do E and test2. So this is the test2 file, it loaded. And I have another file called vi editor.txt, and it will just load that file. And actually you can use colon buffers to see all the files that they are open. So 1, 2, and 3. And you can go to the file with the number. You can use colon buffer 1. It will display the first file, colon buffer 2, second file, colon buffer 3, the third file. You can just you can also copy from this line, this file, go to buffer 1 and just P, and you just paste it on that file. Well, you can also use R and test2. So what it does, it will write the content of test2 on this file where the cursor was. See, this is a test2 file. It wrote the content of that file where the cursor is. And you can do Q without saving it. And you can also do R exclamation and then run the command. So it's just normal shell command. Let's say ls will list the directories and files. And when I run this, it will write the output of ls command into this file where the cursor was. See, from line 7, all these you undo. So those are some of the stuff you can do on the X mode. Now let's open the VI editor text file. So here we can do our next experiment, which is search and replace. So search and replace is probably one of the mostly used feature on VI. If you just want to search the entire file, actually Linux is a case sensitive operating system. Every file, directories, anything that you have on the Linux is case sensitive. So you can create the same file in the same directory using a file name test lowercase, and you can do another file with the test uppercase. So that would be two different files. So VI is also case sensitive. So if you want to search, go to the escape and / and let's say I want to search the word let. See how it highlighted 3, but number 12 is blinking because that's where the first cursor is, and you can hit N and it will go to the next search result. And if you're at the bottom, you can press capital N, Shift N, and it'll go backward. Let's say, for example, I want to search the word test. It displayed the test, but not the line 4 and 5 because it has a test in case sensitive. So what I can do is I can go to the execution mode, set IC. That will they will disable the case sensitivity. So all the test is displayed. And now if I do test, it'll just display no matter what is the case. And if I want to go back and go to the default case sensitive mode, no, set, no, IC. Now if I do test, it will only search that. And if I do test, it will only search the uppercase text. And And let's say, for example, you're in the case sensitive mode and you want to search test, but you don't want, so now the test will only search the lowercase. But if you want everything in case sensitive mode, you can do test \c. They will ignore the case sensitivity for this particular search. And on the number 5, if you want to find the word test with a period, you can do test. And then if you want to enter a period as a part of the word, then you have to escape this special character using the \/ command. So it will just display the number 5 because that's the only word with the period, word test with the period. And if you want to find a test that's the end of the line, just do \, test, and $sign. $sign will just, it will just find the word test at the end of the line. So those two, not the rest. But if you want to do find, let's say I want to find a line, there are 3 lines, but I'm only interested in the line that's in the beginning of the line, then I should do \, line, and it just found the 4 but not the 5 because $sign will display the line with a non blank character. But if I want to, let's say, find the line on number 5, then what I should do is /, and it doesn't matter what word, so we just use period and line, and should be the beginning of the file, $sign. So it just displayed that number 5. And if you want to do number 13 and 14, there's a let's and let vi, so you can do let and asterisk. It will find the word let no matter what. But if you're only interested on the beginning, then similarly let stars only find 2 words. And you can also match the whole word. Let's say, for example, I'm looking for some case here. Let's say if I do ASE search, it will find the word with that in between as a combination of characters in between the word. But if I'm only interested in finding the word in exact match case, then you should do \/ then use, so we have to use the escape character to escape this angle bracket case and escape close, and now it will just find the word case. It will ignore the part of the words. Actually, to demonstrate, let's delete this word C here. So now if I do ASC, it will find 3. But if I just want only line 10, then the same thing. ASC, exact match, and only display the number 10. So that's what I wanted to do actually. So now we will talk about search and replace. So go to the X mode. S means substitution, and / find the word ASC and replace with CASE. And so right now I'm not sure where our cursor is. So our cursor was on 10, so it replaced ASC with CASE. But if you want to, let's say, for example, if you do search, substitute case with no case, then it will only replace on that particular line 10. Others, number 14 were intact. But if you want to do substitute in all over the file, then you should do, let's undo that, %s. Percentage means end of the beginning of the file until the end of the file. So find case and replace with no case. So it just replaced line 10 and 14. But this command will only do, let's do undo. Let's say, for example, we had case here too. So now 3 cases is the same command, %s find case and replace with no case. See, on number 10 and 14, it only replaced the first occurrence of case on each line. It didn't do the second case on line 10. And to do that, let's undo one more time. Go to the S mode, find case, and no case. You have to use switch G at the end, means replace every word case in the file. See, all case got replaced with no case. 3 substitution on 2 lines. And you can also do the exact match case here, the same thing we did on the search. So let's say you want to replace word ext with capital EXT globally. What's on the number 14? So text became capital TXT, and undo it. Let's say you are interested in, let's do one more EXT here just for the test. And let's say you're only interested in replacing the EXT one word, then %s. We're searching everywhere from the beginning to the end. Search for exact case EXT and replace with no EXT. And see, only the beginning and the number 8 line got replaced. Other number 14 text were not changed. So let's delete these here. By default, the search and replace is also case sensitive, so you can ignore the case by using I command. Like, for example, if I want to find line and replace, let's say I want to find line and replace with, for example, no line, then it will only replace the line 2, 3, and not line 4 and 5 and others, because it's a case sensitive with the no line. Now I want to change all the lines no matter what case it is. So do %s, then line with no line globally, and I case insensitive. So all the line changed into no line. And one more you can do is you can, let's do undo, and let's do the similar thing. Search for line, and now this time replaced with no line caps globally. And you can use this command option C. It will ask you to replace before each word. So replaced with no line. If you say Y, it will perform that substitution yes. And if you do N, it will skip the current occurrence and go to the next one. And if you press A, it will do substitute for all. If you press Q, it will skip and quit the substitution. And lowercase l, it will just perform this current substitution and quit. But you can also do Control C to interrupt the substitution. So you can use C as a consulted replace. It will ask you before replacing the word. And one more thing you can do is, since we have the line number displayed here, you can, let's say you are here and you want to search only on line 6 from the current cursor up to line 6, then what you can do is colon and current cursor, comma, and let's say you want to from the current cursor line to next 4 lines plus 4, and then search. What do you want to search? Line, and replace with big line, for example. So it will only search and replace up to line 6, not the 8 and the 15 and other lines. So you can use the line numbers for search and replace. And if you want to do, for example, line 6 to 15, or let's say line 10 to 11, we did period before. Period will just do the current line where the cursor is, but you can do 10, comma 11 and search. So we're looking for the word, let's say, is, and this is replaced with the global way, and just between 10 and 11, it didn't change the other lines. So those are probably most of the command that I use. Some of the commands that I don't use every day, but search and replace definitely. Let's say, for example, let me give you one real life example. Let's do X quit. Let's say, for example, I want to go and change some parameters inside the SSH config file. So let's say I want to go to SSHD config file, and I want to search the word for permit root login. So I don't know where to go. Actually, you can use Control F to go forward and Control B to go backwards. That's also one of the commands you can use. So let's say I don't know where that word is. I want to search permit root login. So if I do that, it might not find it because the word is again case sensitive. So the pattern is not found. So what I can do is permit root login, but ignore the case. Now it found me. See where the permit root login line, the line is blinking. And I can simply go to the end of the line by pressing the $sign and just delete yes and convert into no, and then just save it. And so now if I go here, search permit root login, case, ignore the case sensitivity, and the change is made here. So let's go here and do yes, quit with the force. So that's how we use VI in every day. And there are so many commands you can do with the VI. I can't even remember. And honestly, I don't use it every day, so I didn't include it here. But you can search, you can do the help menu, and you can read the manual and everything. So I hope this was helpful, and I'm sure you will not use every command that we see today. It might be you can just extract the one that you need and you will be using, and then just practice. So this is it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.